Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's always Wednesday when we have this class, right? But I'm so happy you're here. My name is Kourtney Bassett. We have 45 minutes to move through a bit of Pilates today. And in today's class, we're going to work on internal and external hip mobility and strength. So you'll see that throughout class, but especially in our side lying work. So internal rotation at the hip, external rotation at the hip, really help those hip stabilizers there. And we're just going to jump right in. So we're starting today in a quadruped position. Join me when you're ready. Remember, we have a mat, a blanket, a towel, or some sort of carpeted cushioned surface under our body. That'll really help our joints. We're starting with the knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Toes can be tucked under to allow a little stretch through the foot. And our eye gaze is looking towards the fingertips. Today we start just by gently shifting the hips back. And then shifting the hips forward, shoulders drop over the fingertips. And continuing through, we sink our sits bones back. And pull it forward, noticing how the belly is engaged. Our eyes are locked in on those fingers to help keep a neutral spine. And we're just gently moving, feeling a nice stretch through the bottom of the foot, through the hips. And then as we come forward, we'll feel a stretch through the forearms, work through the shoulders. Let's do that one more time. And forward. Then we're moving back to where the shoulders are right over the hands. We'll begin to round the spine up for cat and cow. And then drop the belly through. Moving through spinal articulation. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Letting every vertebra round up and then reverse, belly drops through. And we'll do that one more time. From here, we'll take that right arm out in front of us. Left leg extends back as we work into a bit of spinal balance, really just starting to warm up our core. Syncing our movement with our breath, we inhale, reach out left arm, right leg. Exhale, pull that hand and knee back to the floor. Inhaling, we reach. Exhale, lower. Keeping that eye gaze down towards the mat, nice long neutral spine. You've heard me say it a few times today. I'll probably say it a few more. And from here, the knees come apart, toes together. Sink your hips back into your rest pose. Drop the forehead through and find a rest pose. Letting your belly fill up with air. With every breath, the belly presses up against the thighs. And as we exhale, it pulls towards the spine. From here, we walk those hands over to the right side of the mat. Feeling a stretch through the side body. And then we'll take the hands up and over to the opposite edge of the mat. Same stretch, other side. And as we transition onto our backs, I've got a nice option for us. We can lift the hips, tuck the toes under, hover the knees, and then flip around. Or just find yourself seated on your bottom. All right, so from our seated position, we'll work through a bit of spinal articulation again. Rounding the spine as we press back.
Inhale, open the chest towards the ceiling. We'll do that one more time. And at the bottom, roll yourselves all the way to the mat. Once we're connected with the mat, begin to inhale, arms overhead, starting to flow through the shoulders. Remember, we're still just getting warmed up. That work is soon to come. And we'll start alternating knees to chest. Every time the hands come down, pull one of those knees into the belly. We'll feel a nice stretch through the low back. Option to extend one of those legs all the way across the room here. Good. Continue to reach and elongate the spine, and then release the hip in. One more on either side. And from there, we let both knees float into the chest, rocking from side to side, getting a little massage through the low back. As our feet press to the floor, hands come right over the chest, head and shoulder blades hover above the mat, and we begin to pump the arms for hundreds. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. We inhale through the nose for a count of 5. Exhale through the mouth for a count of 5. Head and shoulders hover above the mat. You've got the option of taking the toes into a tabletop position here, or perhaps out to 45 degrees. You get to choose either way. Those arms are working nice and vigorously. Option to tap the toes down and lift up or stay stable. You all get to choose. 2 more rounds. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we release, the arms reach overhead. The legs extend across the mat. Drag your heels into the floor. Peel your spine off of the mat, bone by bone by bone. Roll over the thighs. Reach for the toes. Come down one vertebra at a time. Inhale. Exhale. We just continue mobilizing through the spine, taking it at our own pace. If we would like, we could always bring one knee into the chest, utilizing that to help us lift up in a nice seamless move. Another great option is to use those hands and elbows to lower and lift. So find that option that suits you. We have one more roll up. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, peeling off of the mat. Reach for the toes, coming down. The hands find our sides. Right leg extends to the ceiling for leg circles. Good. Create some space between the shoulders and the ears. 3, 2, and 1. Reverse it, opposite direction. 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee into the belly. From there, we'll slide the leg outside of the body for a little inner thigh stretch. Preparing for our larger beach ball size circles. That leg comes back to center. Flex through the foot, extend it to the ceiling, and reach around as if you're bringing your heel around the outside of the beach ball. 2 more. And last one, at the top, we'll reverse the direction the leg falls out. We pull it across. 3, 2, and 1. With that leg pulling back into the belly, let's take it across the body for a little rotational stretch here. We can look in the opposite direction, working to keep both shoulders connected with the mat. As our hips come back down towards the mat, that leg extends all the way out. The opposite leg reaches towards the ceiling for those leg circles on the opposite side. We start with our dinner plate size circle. It's the small one. 3 more. 2, and 1. Reverse the direction of those leg circles. Really get that powerhouse or core to work here. 3, 2, and one. Bending the knee into the belly and sliding that leg outside of our rib cage for an inner thigh stretch. As that knee comes back to center, flex the foot, reach the heel towards the ceiling, big beach ball size circle we come across, and over. 2 more. Last one. At the top, we reverse it opposite direction. 4, 3, 2, and the last one at the top, bend the knee in, slide that leg all the way across the body, looking in the opposite direction for that rotational stretch again. Fantastic. As we come back to center, bring the knees into a bent position. We'll give ourselves the opportunity to unwind through the low back by swaying the knees from one side of the room over to the other. So this is a great way to prepare our hips for both internal and external mobility. We'll do this a few times throughout today's class. It's also a good thing that we can just find ourselves on the floor and get some mobility in the middle of the day. This is a good one to refer to. Last time in each direction. As we come back to center, we go right into our Pilates side ab series. So right knee pulls into the chest. Hands find that shin bone. As the head and shoulder blades hover off the mat, so will that left leg. All right, so we're here, elbows wide, extend and switch hands or legs. Yes, out and in. Reach those toes out in opposition. We do this with control. All right, so it's not as much about speed today as it is our precision in the movement. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. One more time on either leg. As the knees pull in, double leg stretch. Zip up through the inner thighs. Reach hands and feet out in opposition. Sweep the arms around. Hug the knees tight. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, sweep in. If we need a little less, take the hands and feet straight up to the ceiling. That might feel a little bit less pressurized on the core or strenuous on the core. Reach and in. You're still working on that precision and control. Final time. Rolling here. Both toes reach to the ceiling. We let one hand find the calf muscle. We lower the left leg and switch. If we're starting to feel a strain through the neck or the shoulders, remember you always have the option to lower the head and shoulders to the mat and allow your hands to find the hamstring. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. One more on either side. And release. Both feet come together right over the hips. Hands behind the base of the skull or by your sides for leg lower, leg lift. Another great option here is to move through toe taps, which is where I'm going to be today. For those of you who don't know, I'm 6 months postpartum, had a baby in December. So I'm still working to regain a lot of my strength and my core stability. So this is a really great place for me personally, but I want you to know you have so many options. 3, 2, and 1 more for everyone. As the knees come into the chest, let yourself rock from side to side. Last bit of our Pilates side ab series is our obliques. All right, so a little bit of rotational work. Feet come to the floor. Hands find themselves behind the base of the skull. We're lifting up and over. Come center and then reach to the other side. All right, so I want us to feel like our obliques are doing a good amount of the work as opposed to our hands pulling our head up. So we're really working to rotate and come down, up and lower. Good. 2 and 1. Release and sway those knees from side to side. Good. From here, we move into some bridges. Really great work for that posterior chain. Pull your feet in closer towards your bottoms. And when you're ready, press the hips up and lower down. Lift the hips and release. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Driving the leg on a very long, neutral spine here. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Three, 2. On our final one, we hold those hips lifted. Draw that belly button towards your spine, hold it lifted, grounding with the entire foot. Create that space from your knees to the crown of your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hips come down and bend the knees to the belly. Good. Once again, we're just rocking it from side to side. When you're ready, roll yourselves up, finding a nice seated position. Get your bearings. This is our first time upright. This could be a really good time to grab some water if you need it. So just know that that's an option. It's always an option, right? All right, seated in an L sit. So we're sitting back on our mat or our surface below. And we lift the shoulders over the hips. Feet are out in front of us. We can have a slight bend under the knees if that feels right for us. The arms float forward and we begin to mobilize the spine, rolling down one vertebra at a time and then pulling the spine back up. Good. So join me when you're ready. And then we'll start to enhance this movement. So inhale at the top. Exhale, start at the crown of the head, roll down bone by bone by bone. Once you get to the bottom, pull your belly button back towards your spine, and then restack the spine. We're operating with an inhale to prepare for movement, exhale to mobilize through the movement. One more. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll down. Lifting all the way back up. Hands come down. We gently rotate the head to one side of the room and the other. Good. Feet come apart just a little bit further. So maybe to the corners of your mat or hip distance apart. We'll reach the hands out in opposition for either side of the room. Going into saw, we rotate through the torso, roll down, reach for that pinky toe and stack it back up. Rotate, roll down, reach, and lift. Again, that option for a slight bend in the knee is great. If we're feeling tightness through the hamstrings, we rotate through the body, roll down bone by bone by bone, reach for that pinky toe, stack it back up, and then move to the other side. Our eyes are looking towards that back hand,
Final time. And release. Hands come behind us. We're releasing to the mat, onto those elbows. Opening up through the chest. Big expansive stretch for the chest. Kick one leg up and flex down. So we point the toe up, flex it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Final time. On either leg, we gotta do both legs, right? And release, pressing back up into our seated position. We'll find one leg extended, and I'll face you all for this. One leg extended and one leg bent. I really love this series. I don't always incorporate it, but I feel like this stretch series is really great right before we move into our sideline work, especially on days like today when we're going to do internal and external hip mobility, because this just gives you an added stretch to prepare. We'll roll or rotate our body towards the extended leg, and then walk our hands further down towards the foot. Opening up to the side of the room. And then releasing up tall. Fantastic. Switch to the other side. Hips come down. We rotate towards the extended leg. Walk the hands down towards the ankle. Open up to the side of the room. And release. Good. All right, another quick little mobility segment before we move into our sideline work is a Z-sit. So one shin bone is out. And we have some internal rotation at the hip. The other is out this way. This is our externally rotated hip. And then we sway the knees from side to side. So those hands back behind us helps us just get a little bit of bearing here. If you have done this with me before, you have the option, well, anyone has the option, right? But you may have seen me do this before, where we do this with our hands lifted off of the mat, and that makes it even more challenging, a lot more core work. So I know that that's an option, not a requirement, but we're just working through that internal and external hip mobility again. 2 and 1. Release. Fantastic. All right, we're coming onto our side. So our spine aligns with the back edge of the mat. Feet are forward towards the front edge or front corner of the mat, if you will. We can be up on our elbow, or we can be laying all the way down, cradling that head. Find your optimal sideline position. We start with the top leg lifting and lowering. Good. Our eye gaze is looking forward. Our spine is still in nice alignment. 3, 2, and 1. Pulse that foot towards the ceiling. Toes are still facing forward. 3, 2, 1. At the top, take your toes to the ceiling and your heels forward. So we just externally rotated at the hip. We'll bring those heels together and then lift up. Lower and lift. Continue to mobilize. 3, 2, and 1 at the top. We pulse that foot towards the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming down, we'll go into internal rotation of the hips. So toes down, heels lifted, up and down. Good. Working through that internal hip mobility, it's really easy to just collapse our body into the mat. So try to lift your rib cage. 3, 2, 1. Pulse that foot towards the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Give yourself some myofascial release. And then we move to leg circles. All right, for leg circles, leg is up, toes are pointed. Sweep that leg forward, brushing the inner thighs together. 3, 2,
one, and reverse it, take it back, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top leg stays lifted. We kick the leg forward and kick the leg back, working to open up through the hip. Find your core stability here. 3, 2, and 1. Our leg comes back and in line with that mat. Top arm reaches overhead. If you need to, you can bend that top leg for a little stretch through the side body. Yeah. And then bring it forward for myofascial release. Good. All right, we move to the bottom leg. Rib cage is lifted. Lift and lower the bottom foot. Shoulders are stacked, one on top of the other. Hips are stacked. 3 of 5. 3, 2, and 1. Pulse that foot towards the ceiling. 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle the bottom foot forward. 3, 2, 1. Reverse it. Take it in that opposite direction. 3, 2, 1. We release. Legs are stacked one on top of the other. Bend the feet back or bend the knees in. Working through our clamshells. Again, check to make sure that rib cage is lifted. Top knee presses back. Heels and toes are connected. Press the knee back, opening up into external hip mobility. 3 more. 2, and 1. At the top, we add a pulse. Pulse it. 3, 2, 1. Coming back together. Pulse it. 3, 2, 1. Back together. Final time. As you release, this time the knees connect. As the feet separate, you've internally rotated at the hip and come down. Good. Internal hip rotation and lower. 4 more. Last one. No pulsing, but we are going to try to hold this in an isometric position. Heel lifted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down and shake it out. Good. All right, you're done with our sideline work on this side. But before we shift to the opposite side, shoulders over the elbow, find your favorite side plank position. That can be with the bottom knee bent, both legs extended, or feet staggered. I don't care what you find. I just want you to be upright in this strong plank, okay? Getting into that plank, we're holding and breathing, okay? So we're stabilizing at the shoulder and at the core. Your breath is not gonna hold, all right? It's flowing constantly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Five more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hip comes down, both knees bend in. Y'all know I love a side bend. So we find that hand at our ankle, float the top arm over for our mermaid stretch, and then release them. And open back up. The eyes look towards the ceiling and release. Good work. One side down. Let's take it to the other side. So as we flip to the opposite side of our mat, remember, we're going to do everything we just did. So you've seen it before, you know what's coming. Keep your mind engaged. We set up with our spine at the back edge of the mat. Feet are forward, top leg lifts and lowers. Good. Check in with yourselves. Is that rib cage lifted? Is our belly strong? 4, 3, 2, and last one. Hold that leg lifted. Pulse it towards the ceiling. 4, 3, 2, and 1. At the top, externally rotate at the hip. Toes are facing the ceiling. Heels come together. And lift and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, And one, hold it lifted, pulse it up, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Internally rotate, toes down, heels lifted, mobilizing from that internal hip mobility. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pulse it up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic job. Everyone bring that leg forward. Give yourselves that myofascial release before we continue our work. When you are ready, extend the leg all the way out. Top leg is lifted. Brush the inner thighs together. Sweeping forward through that leg circle. And reverse it, opposite direction. 3, 2, 1. Once that leg is at the top, kick forward and kick back, mobilizing here. Rib cage is lifted, core and torso are strong. 3 more. 2. Last one, hold that leg back. You can drop it down, reach it over the head for that side body stretch. You can even bend that bottom knee if that feels right for you. And release back towards that myofascial release. As the knee stays lifted, we move to the bottom leg, lifting and lowering. Four, 3, 2, 1. Hold it lifted, pulse towards the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Point the toes, circle forward. Good, good, good. And reverse it. 3, 2, 1. That left foot comes down. Both legs extend back out, one on top of the other. As the knees bend and the heels come back, we move into external mobility. Good. Heels and toes together. Is that rib cage still lifted? Is your core still strong? 3, 2, and 1. We add the pulses. Pulse up for 3, 2, 1. Come back together. Do it again. 3, 2, 1, and release. Final time. And as you come down, knees connect, heel lifts. 5, internally rotate at the hip. 2 more. Last one, staying lifted. You have that isometric hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Come up onto your elbow or your favorite side plank. I almost forgot what to call it. Couldn't forget about side planks, could we? All right, we are up and lifted. We hold and stabilize. Remember, we're holding everything except for our breath. Yeah. Your head is in alignment with that spine, shoulders strong. Good work. Stay with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that hip down, knees pull in, lift yourselves up and over for your side body stretch. We'll round the elbow forward and then open up to the back of the room. Eye gaze looks towards the ceiling and release. Good. Okay, we're coming back into quadruped, right where we left off, or right where we started at the beginning of class. So hands are once again under the shoulders. Let's do a little bit of cat and cow here. Just mobilizing the spine once more. From here, I want us to find our favorite push-up position. From our favorite push-up position, we have, let's do 6 tricep push-ups, okay? So we come down, elbows sweeping right past our rib cage. And then press up strong. When you are done with your 6 tricep push-ups, press back into a rest pose where we find knees apart, toes together, arms forward for a big stretch. From here, we roll the spine all the way back up, knees come in, walk your hands forward, slowly lower your body down to the mat. I'll adjust a little bit so you all can see me. Tops of the feet are connected with the floor. Eye gaze is looking down, hands under the shoulders. We move into swan. Gently lift the chest off of the mat and lower down. While we do this, our head remains in a neutral position and our eye gaze looks to the floor. I oftentimes see people wanting to look out in front of them. And I want you here. And press those hips and feet towards the floor. Lift the chest, even if it only lifts a tiny bit. Working through that back extension. Hands are lifting up off of the floor with our chest. 2 more. Last one. Roll up. As we lower, the hands come right under the shoulders. Our elbows reach towards the ceiling like grasshopper wings. We'll actively press our hands into the mat. Lifting up into an upright position, we unwind the spine and then lower back down. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, press up into expansion or extension. And we'll just continue that at our own pace, using our own preferred breathing. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, press up. As we come back towards the mat, tuck the toes under, press yourselves back into a rest pose. And here we actively send shoulders forward, hips to the ceiling, finding down dog. We'll drive those heels towards the mat, beginning to pedal through the knees, alternating knee bends here. Once again, tailbone to the ceiling, extend the right foot all the way up to the sky. Bend the right knee, pull that hand towards, knee towards your hand for a figure 4 stretch. Remember, if you don't love the figure 4 stretch from the laying position, you can always do it from a seated position with that ankle over the knee. As we let our hands find the floor again, the back toe tucks under, lift back into down dog, both heels press towards the floor. Left leg reaches into 3-legged dog, hold for a brief moment. When you're ready, that left knee pulls all the way through for the right side, left hand. You can always come to those elbows for that deeper stretch or adjust and do this same stretch from your seated position. Hands come back to the mat, back toe tucks under. We lift into down dog. And then pull the right foot forward for a runner's lunge. All right, opening through that Left hip will drop the back knee. Coming into a kneeling position. So I'll walk myself this way. So maybe you can see a little better. But we're here, scooping through the pelvis, opening up through this hip flexor. Take an inhale, exhale, shift forward, dropping the hip low. And we'll reverse sides. So lifting the left knee, sending that right foot back. The left leg comes forward for a tall runner's lunge. When we're ready, we'll drop the back right knee. And then slowly transition back up into our kneeling position on the other side. Again, we curl the pelvis under for that deep stretch for the hip flexor. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, release. Shifting forward. Open up through that hip. As that back knee lifts off the mat, both feet come forward into a forward fold position. We'll slowly roll our spine up once we are tall and standing. I'll adjust my mat for my camera. Big inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, bring them down a few more times. One more. Press the thumbs back behind you for chest expansion. Bring the fingertips towards one another. Round out through the shoulders. And release. Awesome work today. I hope you all enjoyed our time together. If you have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And I hope to see you again next Wednesday, same time, same place.